All right, we are live. Welcome to Bear Sheath Farm, ladies and gentlemen, with your host, Levi Kahn. We will be going ahead and reading Genesis chapters 31 through 35.
Reading Genesis chapter 31.
Let me get this here. Okay. Because as you can read the title, as the title reads, Genesis 31 through 35, and beware the heat. I have a couple of videos on that. It's getting pretty dangerous out there, and we're not done by any stretch. So, anyway, let's do this here. Chapter 31 of Genesis. And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Whew. Hey, welcome and shalom to Wilfred Witzke, actually Shabbat Shalom. Verse 3, And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father, and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointedst the pillar, and where thou vowedst a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken away, from all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Okay, before I continue on to verse 17, they explain things in a very dramatic way, coming from the Hebraic perspective. All that spiel that Yaakov went into with his wives, Rachel and Leah. So that's how passionate they were as a people. Welcome and Shabbat Shalom to Kingdom Perspective. Anyway, and their word actually meant something. Oh, yeah, Jesse. Yes, I. All right. So I just wanted to make that clear. But let's continue on to verse 17. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stolen away unawares to Laban the Syrian, I should say Aramean, but anyway, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount And Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me? And didst thou not and didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and with tabret, and with harp, and hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid. I said, Peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Okay, before I continue on to verse 33, Jacob put a curse on his wife Rachel right there, and he had no clue of it. Now, I can't prove this, but I think one of the reasons why Rachel died after giving birth to Benjamin was because of this. That was one of the reasons. The other reason is because Jacob was so blatant with playing favorites. God finally took her from him. Just saying. All right, verse 33. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the two maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent and found them not. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth, and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin? What is my sin that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. God hath seen mine affliction, and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. Yes, you gotta love the King James, I'm telling you. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or do unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a writing between me and thee. Okay, before I continue on to verse 45, this is the covenant, the contract I talked about, 2-3 live streams ago maybe, that Benjamin Netanyahu is breaking, ladies and gentlemen. He's going against this, and that's not good. Let's continue on. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made an heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it, Jagar Sehadutha. But Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, This heap is a witness between me and thee this day, Therefore was the name of it called Galilee. And Mizpah, for he said, The Lord watch between me and thee, when we are absent one from another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take otherwise beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said to Jacob, Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his place. All 55 verses of chapter 31. I need to check something here, folks. Give me a minute. Okay. I apologize for that. I had to check to see if it was a tick on me or just a bump from a bite or a bump from getting poked. I did a bunch of manual tree snipping and manual tree cutting with my Stanley saw and today, and I got a whole bunch of area done that really needed it desperately near the house, and then this tree in between the house and the yard, or the house and the barn, and I pulled a tick off me earlier this evening. Deb pulled one off me too. And with the alpha gal and all that, with the Lone Star ticks, and then you have the Asian ticks, longhorn, and I get a little paranoid. I have every intention of continuing to eat red meat, despite what Sir William Henry Gates III has to say. Yeah. But this is the covenant that the state of Israel is breaking, and has been for quite some time. So that being said, folks, not good at all. And I love the state of Israel. I wish the people would repent. Bibi needs to be out of there at the very least. And the CIA, I hope, does not officially connect with the facade. Anyway. But before I don't want to get into all that. Chapter 32. Let's rock here. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, This is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau, Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants, and women servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to my brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him in the flocks and herds, and the camels into two bands, and said, If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidst unto me, Return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast shewed unto thy servant, for with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, and 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, Whose art thou? And whither goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the oath, saying, On this matter shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease with him the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life was preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Okay, all 32 verses of chapter 32. Let me think. We had a tradition too, or at a certain time, I'm trying to remember it now, with that one congregation I used to attend, where we got a bone, okay, of a thigh, not a human's, by the way, but we did it in representation of what Yaakov did. It's just so you know that. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. It's been I haven't been to any Sabbath keeping congregations or Messianic synagogues for quite a while. But that being said, I just thought I'd bring that up. Let me check this here. I'm looking at some of the deals here. Or actually, more than anything, I'm looking at the, what do you call it? The chat, the side chat. I'm a little hot yet. Okay, nothing real. You guys are shooting the breeze. I'm cool with that. So, yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit too. About Trump speaking live, he may still be doing it all now, for all I know. I don't. I listened to some of it, and there's some truth to it, but some. Anyway, later. blazing hot. One time I checked Google for 2 areas where I live in between. So I'm 15 miles away from one city, from a city one way, and 20 miles away from another city the opposite way. And one read 94, and the humidity, it felt like 104. The other one read 94, and the humidity, it felt like 106 or something. But there's also more than just that going on, and I'll get into that later too. So anyway, just so you folks know, let's go on to chapter 33 here of Genesis. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. You know, I have to say, before I go on to verse 3, if there's one thing in common, Abraham, his son, and his grandson had in common, they sure did doubt, didn't they? That's quite cowardly, let's be honest. I mean, Jacob's a prophet. He was a prophet of God. He got God's will done. There's no doubt about it. But he had his problems, and putting his wife and children up above, and passing the ones that were less important to him, right in the front. Practically, I just, what can you say? I mean, you just wrestled either an angel all night, probably. Some people think it was Yahshua. I don't. I think it was a malach, an angel. And but either way, even if I'm wrong, I mean, he endured all night. You have to endure, folks, and show your tenacity. He goes and he does all that. He gets blessed, gets renamed, and then he does this. But hey, we all go back to, like Proverbs. Dog goes back to its own puke sometimes, right? Anyway, let's go to verse 3. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Again, a Hebraic thing of being real passionate in their culture, folks. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. What a bootlicker, huh? What a bootlicker. What are you going to do? Verse 6, Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord, as in my master, right? My authority figure, my elder. Anyway, verse 9, And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. Well, he obviously didn't want any of Esau's people being around him, which I don't blame him any. But anyway, verse 16, So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him an house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he brought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it Elel He Yisrael. All 20 verses of chapter 33. We get a drink of water and a drink of coffee. I'm just looking. All right, let's keep this moving. Go to chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her, and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor the father of Shechem went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if you will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if you will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son, and the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, These men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein, for the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people. If every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of a city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of a city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that the two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. Ooh-wee! Bloodshed big time. And do it at their weakest point. It's basically in about your third day, when you're probably at the worst. The most sore and the most feverish, and you're achy, and you can't hardly do anything. from what I've been told. I've been circumcised, but that was as a baby. I don't even, thank God I don't have to remember it. Anyway, verse 26, and they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number. They shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with an harlot? We're at the all 31 verses of chapter 34. I'm all for what Simeon and Levi did. And Jacob, normally being a pretty perceptive man, I think God just blocked their deceptiveness from the old boy's mind. So, I mean, what can you say? I mean, Shechem obviously had the hots for it. I think he deceived her. She might have gotten her too drunk. I've heard a lot of Christian pastors in the past say, I think they were both fooling around and they were into it and it got too far. And, well, I tend to think, I mean, Dinah was young. She was a virgin. She didn't know anything. Not like that. I tend to think she got manipulated. Now, did she get raped right out? That I don't know. I'm not willing to go that far with it because I'll plead the fifth. But, yeah. I think they did what they were able to do. Obviously, Elohim let it happen. And these guys knew what they were doing. You know, you see the movies and stuff, different Bible movies, and, it's all the 10 sons, not Joseph and Benjamin wasn't there yet, but I mean the other 10 sons that Joseph was there, but not Benjamin. But Joseph was not a part of it. So the 10 sons, the movies will show all 10 of them just tearing apart the city. Now it was Simeon and Levi, and they obviously knew, along with not only to wait for the best time to get them at their weakest point, as well as that they also knew how to swing a sword. And obviously they were very effective with it. And it wasn't meant for them to intermingle, to become a people, to become one people, one culture. Even Shechem being the most honorable. I mean, look at what he did. That's like looking at Lot. He's probably the most righteous one out of Sodom, wasn't he? Or Gomorrah, one of the two. And, but was he very righteous? No. So, anyway, off with your head, I guess. But let's do chapter 35. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they went on, and they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their land, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. Now, terror of God was on all the surrounding cultures in whatever cities, and they didn't dare mess with those boys, did they? All right, quite a reputation to have. Verse 6. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Elon Bachath. And God appeared unto Jacob again, and he came out of Padan Aram and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him, and Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni. But his father called him Benjamin. I think Ben-Oni means child of pain. Verse 19, And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. And sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which are born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years, which means 180. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Okay. That is all 29 verses of Genesis chapter 35. Quite a life. I mean, Abraham made it 175 years. Isaac made it 180, and Jacob, we'll read later that he did 147 years. So they're still living longer than what we see today. I suppose we could put Doge on the job just to be sure, but even though that's kind of a bad joke. Oh, my eyes. Oh, brother. Anyway, the reading I do during the day and the writing I do, and then this, it wears on me with my cataracts. But I'm not going to whine too much about it. What I will say is, I'd like to get back to that Hebraic culture. I've experienced it, I think, a little bit with some of the groups I've been with in the past. Not to that level, and definitely not for like a real life duration. I haven't, but it's pretty cool. A little bit that I have. That being said, I mean, what's there to say? I mean, it just, we have a lot of things going on in this earth today. I'm looking at the side chat on my phone here too. You guys are typing in about the weather and stuff. That's cool. I want to be talking about that a little bit. So I don't. I'm trying to think. All the nonsense that's going on. I listened to some of the speech coming from President Trump, and there is some truth to that. And yes, I am grateful for this nation. Don't get me wrong. But things are going to he double hockey sticks in a handbasket. Um, and we're losing. We might have a water crisis this year. I hope not. Well, look at all the AI data centers. It takes a lot of water um, to cool that stuff down, supposedly. And they're sucking it dry. They're sucking a lot of places dry, including people's wells and stuff. And the ones people that still have water, it's very dirty in that. It's not a good situation. So that being said, I mean, I just, what can you say? Two, with the heat. Let me explain something about the heat. It's bad enough that it gets in the 90s and it's going to get more extreme. I guess we're going to have where we are anyway, a cooling off period for 3-4 days. It might be down to the 80s or something. I don't know. But then it's going to go right back up. And there's also a thing going on that's natural. Whether man is messing with it or not, I don't know. Man does not need to. But the gamma rays, and I mentioned this before. And on Deep South Homestead channel, I've heard Danny King talk about it, and I looked it up as best I could. And every few hundred years, there's certain parts of the earth where it needs to burst out the gamma rays of the sun that's build up. It's a buildup, and it needs to go, and it's hard on people who live there. It's hard on stuff there. Some stuff is adapted to it, but it can be really rough on crops and stuff, and the radiation levels go way up above average. I already told you about how Deb's one auntie and uncle with their property, it was tested, and all of the radiation levels were higher than normal, and nobody had any clue why. We just sat there and listened. That was back when I was in the Panama City, Florida area, or technically Parker beside it. But point is, hey, welcome to Shabbat Shalom to Haas. So that makes it even harder on us. Well as that being certain areas every 300 to 500 years, there's every 3,000 to 3,500 years or something like that, they say. And our government has that information, even though we're only 250 years old now, where it goes on all over the nation, or all over the world, in all nations, in all areas. And my wife was asking me earlier, does that affect the winter, like bring us harder winters? I don't know, folks. I really don't have the answer to that. But anyway, 100 degrees today is a lot. I think it's harder with the radiation level and the gamma rays than it was 10 years ago. It doesn't even feel the same to me. And I understand that I'm getting older, but, so that being said, folks, you need to be safe out there. And I'm going to show you clips of one video and then one full video, because it's only 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, I still do keep up on things. And you want to know people that are being affected by the heat badly and are really kind of screwed? It's New York City, folks. They're in big trouble. With Zoran the Moron Mom Donnie, it's not good at all. And I watch Cash Jordan. I recommend that you subscribe to him. I don't sum up every video he does. He licks what's his name, Trump's boots, no matter what it seems like, but he does give a lot of good information. Okay, I'll trust Cash Jordan over the mainstream media any day of the week. So let me get him. Let me share this. Here we are. We'll play this. You got to see. This is. Oh man, I hope New York City learns their lesson. I really do. The voters. Listen to this nonsense.
Thousands are without power in New York City. Look at
power
this.
problems from the extreme heat. About 10,000 customers in New York City
10,000?
are without electricity at this hour.
Con Ed asking customers in parts of Upper Manhattan and the Bronx and Westchester County to conserve energy.
The fire hydrant sprinklers are on, but the power in this Williamsbridge neighborhood in the Bronx is off.
It's super high. It's super high in the house. Not happening.
That
The
stinks.
sweltering heat amid dangerous temperatures topping above 100 degrees in New York City, combined with the humidity, makes it feel uncomfortably unbearable at close to 110 degrees.
How is this
terrible.
happening in America?
Because it's especially when you want to get to the kitchen to make yourself a nice cup of tea and no electricity you can use, now the
What?
stove to get it.
Drivers
That's
and cars
crazy.
seem navigating their own way through this powered-off intersection
No,
at
street
East
lights are out.
222nd Street and Barnes Avenue. One neighbor, a good Samaritan, was seen trying to help direct traffic.
This is the traffic
camera
lights. There's no
nothing
police
on. You
either.
could go back there. It's dark. You go more back there to the end. It's more dark. It's so hot. And people don't want to come in here.
Israel
Guy's gonna
Tejeda,
lose his
whose
inventory.
family-owned grocery store at the same corner had to close and throw out ice cream and their meats because of the
Look at
power
that.
outage. How frustrating is
They
this for
throw
you?
out all his food.
It's a lot because I don't make no money. I gotta pay bill. I gotta still pay the rent without the light. Still
How
gotta.
can there be no power?
It's this for the community right now. It's kind of hard right now.
As frustration boils, Con Edison crews and the Riverdale section of the Bronx work to restore power at
Now, the mayor went on TV and told everybody this wasn't going to happen if everybody put their AC at 78. But somebody didn't do that, and maybe this is their fault.
To some of these government buildings, like City Hall.
City Hall.
in City Hall right now, and look, I'm not a walking human thermometer, but they do feel pretty cold.
What?
So we're standing in the center of the rotunda, underneath a skylight with no air conditioner anywhere near us, in the middle of City Hall.
Look at
and
this.
it is 73 degrees.
What?
Now,
Maybe if you live in the Bronx, you should visit City Hall, where there's power and AC and lights and everything else you'd expect to find in 2026 America.
that is only 1 degree above a normal room temperature in the middle.
Okay. I'm going to move this forward a little bit. This is 17 minutes and 18 seconds. But as you can see, Mom Donnie promised, or he said, hey, this won't happen. But what's going on is a lot of the city buildings that are affiliated under his authority, they can get, and it reached 73 degrees on some of this. But when they checked, inside some of those places are anywhere from 73, even down to 65 degrees. And there's one building that's affiliated with the New York State government, Governor Kathy Hochul, and their buildings are anywhere from 65 down to 61 degrees. They are blasting the AC for themselves. Keep that in mind. The peasants don't mean anything to those people. Okay? We're just nothing but trash to them. They're not our public servants. They're our masters, our overlords, and This is what it's coming down to. They can sit there and say socialist all they want. And again, I've said before, I don't even know what a social democrat could really be. But this is communism. This is Marx. It's a combination. Communism, Marxism, totalitarianism. What do you call it? Fascism, like Adolf Hitler. You know, they're superior to us. The difference is they don't, you know, they're not into the white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes like the German Nazis were. It's a little more complicated than that today. Well, let's continue. I put it way ahead here. Hold on. LEO agencies have been infested by evil spirits. They are turning into soldiers for the dark side like Roman. So, okay. Hold on, then. Let's do this.
But a day like this, I mean, I need it at 69. Yeah, or like 68 maybe. Listen to the mayor, though, you guys. Mayor Mamdani is the best mayor. He should be president.
Oh, I'm sure he would love to be.
Right. Nobody's complying with, even the guy who likes him. The majority of people in New York City seem to like the idea of socialism until it actually got implemented. This is like a microcosm of what's coming, baby. In the history, any reference you can possibly think of, everybody, they voted their way into it, but they always had to shoot their way out of it. Or it just totally collapsed and people just starved.
Yeah, this is
That's
terrible.
why you have people in socialist countries fleeing in makeshift rowboats to come to capitalist countries and not the other way around.
Well, when they get here and they find out there's no electricity, they're going to turn around and go back because things aren't any better in the Bronx right now than they are in these other countries that have no electricity and no clean water. Think about that for a second. No electricity, no clean water. What a nightmare. And now there's no cell phone service, which means if people are out there looting, you can't call anyone for help. So we don't even know what the full ramifications over this are because it just happened.
Under the Home Energy Fair Practices Act, no shutoffs on days with forecasts with when it's cold, highs of blue state. For the government, they want things. But everyone else living in poverty. The government class is basically royalty, does whatever they want, while the rest of the people are taxed into poverty to provide for the government. The other hilarious thing is in New York, not unlike other blue states, actually some red states have this too, there are laws about cutting off or restricting people's electricity, especially in New York, under the Home Energy Fair Practices
but they
Act.
still did it.
No shutoffs on days with forecasts with when it's cold, highs of 32 or lower, including wind chill, or they're not allowed to shut off your electricity the day of or the day before the heat index reaches 90 plus degrees, which is today. So there is actually no mechanism for Mamdani or anyone else to enforce this guidance. They could do rolling blackouts.
Well, but there is, because the power grid collapsed. It just didn't collapse in the rich neighborhoods or by City Hall for some reason. Oh, it only collapsed in the Bronx. I wonder why that is.
Sizzling triple-digit heat blanketed all 5 boroughs. It feels unbearable. The record-breaking heat and high humidity increased demand for electricity.
There's one of those electric
power
buses.
outages.
I was watching Jeopardy and it went out.
Lights go out, air conditioners go off.
Con Ed says crews restored service to nearly 31,000 customers. And late Thursday evening, about 16,000 were still without power in parts of Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island.
It was quite surprising.
So
Con Ed
that's
also
crazy.
urged customers to conserve energy and reduce voltage by 8% in parts of Staten Island, northern Queens, Westchester County, and the northeast Bronx. And
so we're looking at what are effectively brownouts. They've reduced the voltage everywhere. They're not shutting off the power. They're just going to turn down the amount of power you can get, and stuff's not going to run. And if you try to fight that, it's going to get even worse. You're going to have more of these blackouts. They said they restored power to 31,000 people and 16,000 still don't have power. That's wild.
the utility says reducing power helps manage the grid during heat waves. In the Bronx, New York City
Look at all those
Emergency
buses.
Management reported the temperatures at 107 degrees.
My all compressor is no working right now.
Look at that.
No cooling.
Employees at
Okay, let me move this up a little bit. I'll do some speaking on it and then do my next video. Actually, I'll just continue.
This Bronx corner store weathered the heat as crews worked to fix the AC.
How difficult is it to work when it's that hot in there?
It's too difficult. It's sweating.
How do you fix the AC when there's no power?
Hundreds of cooling shelters across all 5 boroughs have been activated. You can find a full list on the...
How long do you think it's going to be in New York before they have the power police running around, going to businesses like this, finding them for having lights on that don't need to be on, while City Hall's lit up like a Christmas tree during the day?
We will take aggressive legal action to remove negligent owners and property managers.
Oh.
And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards.
Could that be a building that loses
include
power?
Community land trusts, nonprofits.
Okay, look, that ought to tell you guys something too. It's only happening to the middle class to poor people, not the rich areas, and of course not the government buildings. And so you know what they think of us. Oh, praise the Lord, I'm New York. Oh boy. Now here's some precautions that are recommended, and I'll put in Cash Jordan's link. I do recommend that you subscribe to him. Like I said, I don't agree with him on everything, but he does give a lot of great info. And he licks the boots of Trump. Well, out of my guys that come through my mind, Professor Nez is the worst. Benny Johnson is the second worst, although they give good information. Stephen Gardner is good, but he licks the boots a little too much. And a little less than him is Cash Jordan. What is her name? You know they're not going to be putting up with that, folks. There's no way they'll put up with that wedding. What is her name? Type it in. I'm just not recalling right now. Let me know. I had the name yesterday. Anyway, let's get this other video on, and I'll put their link in as well. It's a news channel from Tennessee. It's a Fox Tennessee news channel.
Sometimes people will pass out.
Continuing coverage now on the heat wave across the Mid-South. Hundreds of thousands of people are in Music City right now for the 4th of July weekend, especially with America's 250th birthday. So far, we've seen some events already canceled, though, because of the dangerous temperatures. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is live in Nashville with how we can stay safe and still get out and celebrate, Karen.
Kelly, as you can see, it's pouring rain outside. And because of that, Let Freedom Sing, one of Nashville's biggest event, drawing massive crowds, has been canceled for the rest of the day. But it doesn't mean it's been canceled for tomorrow, with the dangers of heat stroke still a reality.
Temperatures are soaring in Music City for 4th of July weekend.
It's been pretty hot.
It's extremely hot.
Jessica Harches is fanning herself off to keep cool.
It's like 100 degrees and it's extremely humid.
The extreme heat has led several events to be canceled in Nashville, including Cousins Made Lobster, where they write it's in the interest of keeping our staff safe and apologize for the inconvenience of people who plan to attend. Also, Opry Plaza canceled singer Emily Brooks' show this weekend because of the heat. She writes, "I'm so bummed, y'all.
You can only be out for so long, and if you don't have the relief, that's when people can get hurt."
Dr. Michael Hasty, the medical director for TriStar Southern Hills, tells us about the dangers.
Sometimes people will pass out because they get so hot. You can get so hot that you have a seizure, which is what we call a heat stroke.
Here are some warning signs.
If you start not sweating, or if you get chills, like you feel cold when you're outside, that's your body telling you that things aren't going right.
Dr. Hasty advises to try to be in the shade, avoid drinking a lot, and stresses the importance of water and cooling off, which is where nonprofit Red Frogs steps in.
We have about 5 different Red Frogs tents spread out across the district downtown, making sure that we're doing free cups of water. We have free ice towels.
Red Frogs is not just offering water bottles in this extreme heat, but also something very unique. See right here with a volunteer, this is called the misting spray. I already feel so much cooler.
Red Frogs is around from 10:30 in the morning until midnight this weekend and ramping it up on 4th of July.
Health experts warn if you see any signs of heat stroke, like confusion, dizziness, or nausea, please call 911. Reporting live in downtown, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Hey, with very own.
Hold on a second. Okay. All right, let me get this back up. Okay. We're on our own, folks. I mean, this is stuff that Joseph Stalin pulled. Little poop stunts he pulled. A communist. Adolf Hitler pulled these stupid stunts as a fascist who supposedly hated communism. Again, they all intermix. I've checked all the meanings of the names I gave you. Totalitarianism, Marxism, Karl Marx, blah, blah, blah. Socialism, communism, fascism. I mean, the people were oppressed. They were starved. New York, they thought they had it bad before. Oh, boy. Not good. Let's see this. Hold on. Okay, I might need to do another video or live stream. Maybe I'll recommend channels for people to subscribe to, and that could take a while. That could be a long video because I have a lot of subjects. I do fool around. Action and Adventures YouTube channel put up Terminator 2 Judgment Day. They're missing some scenes though, because I know that movie really well. When I told you when I take a break, because it gets so heavy on me, and the articles I read, and it's just like, oh man, doom, 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 doom. But I'm not doomed. I'm a child of a living God, so I keep reminding myself of this, and it's not meant to be a bed of roses here. I guess obviously, I read Acts and that, and it's like, oh, yeah, they have some stories in there, and I do believe them on a literal level. So, but anyway, be careful out there. I keep telling you that, and that's the thing. When I pointed out the gamma rays, and I'll do it again. These are things that even some of these better news channels are not pointing out. They probably just don't know. I'm not so sure Cass Jordan even knows about that. If he does, I've never heard him speak on it. Danny King from Deep South Homestead does. But Deep Made Simple, I'll check it out. I'll check it out here. In fact, I'll type it out now. I have a window open, and I'll look at it. Now, there's another video, and I didn't put anything on it because I haven't seen it yet. It's Tyler Wood encounter. Oh, okay. I think I've seen this channel around. I don't really know a lot about it. Who wrote the Septuagint, Abba, Paul and Corinth. Yeah, I'll take a look at that, Hoss. What blasphemy really means. Why did God test Abraham into eternity? Yeah, I'll take a look at it. That being said, though, if the peasants didn't go along with things that were being said, they starved. They were right out murdered by people like Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin. They had a lot more in common than they realized, and they became enemies when Hitler stupidly divided his military and attacked Russia. He's probably a God thing. And Winston Churchill took Joseph Stalin on as an ally, fully understanding, though, what Stalin was really about. And I think he understood him better than Franklin Delano Roosevelt ever could have. Yeah, J.J. Carroll's another good one. So be careful out there. I mean, have plenty of water, folks. Take breaks. Now, even though I worked for decent amounts of time manually cutting or snipping, those small branches and stuff, getting them away from the house and pulling some stuff away that was right next, hitting the house. I was in a shaded area, it's a lot of forestry out here. But still, even then, I mean, I'd take so much out of there, remove it, and come back in here and get some water. I didn't test that, when I thought, okay, it's time to come in and take a couple of minutes, and about 10 minutes, whatever it was. And then I don't have a chainsaw that works right now either, any more than I have a vehicle. And so I'm taking my Stanley manual saw and getting down a tree and, which is fine. I'm in good enough shape to do it. I mean, think about that though. Some of the New Yorkers, the bus lines, the underground bus lines and stuff, it doesn't even work half the time. And when it does, they're way late. And a lot of those people can't get there to fire hydrants to stand in front of it and go, oh. Those people are, some are elderly. They can't be doing that. Some of them may be young, but they're out of shape stupidly. Or they might have health issues, whatever. You have a combination of things. And don't think Mom Donnie gives a rip about it. He doesn't, man. I think I've always talked about him. I think there are a lot of politicians who know that are even going the opposite way of what they used to talk, like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Well, Bill Clinton's he's out of the picture. He sure didn't talk like this when he was the governor of Arkansas, nor the president. Hillary Clinton, even. I mean, and I think she's way more evil than her hubby ever has been. A lot of these people talked halfway sensible 30-some years ago, even just 20 years ago, and now they're talking the opposite way. And they're not even capable of caring for us. They're psychopaths on a psychological level. They're incapable of having any compassion or feeling for anyone except maybe themselves. Even their family and stuff, close ones that they do take care of because it's obligated duty and it makes them look good, don't think they care for them. That a psychopath cannot do that. But, with you and I, they don't have to. And now they're getting more blatant anyway. So, this is every year a certain amount of people die from heat exhaustion. And I don't know how many are going to die this year. I did look it up earlier, but they don't have any, I didn't find any polls or stats yet. And it is early, for 2026. It's too early in the summer, but I was looking at the polls from, 2012 to 2025. And I think it's going to be way worse this year because they're comparing El Nino now and showing, and I should get a picture of that, 1877 and 2026. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, Hoss. It looks pretty good on the surface. I've seen it around, but I don't really know much. You must have looked into it more than I have. So, but yeah, I'll take a look at it for you. I just don't. Well, this is good. In a way, a lot of good can come out of this. I mean, we can learn to be more self-sufficient like our forefathers. Okay? They weren't getting any bennies when we broke off from Britain and King George III. A lot of bloodshed. A lot of people gave their lives to separate from our now predecessor, Brother Brits. And I read my history. I've watched documentaries and that. And as well as growing up with shows like Little House on the Prairie, which is way fabricated with the late Michael Landon. I also read the books. Families, when they got together, they stuck together and they made it through things and they toughed it out. And they were close knit, even as communities. And for those of you, you see that's all being ruined now, and it has been for a long time. I don't. And what's there to say? It just there's really not much to say. We're on our own. We need to depend on Elohim. You need to read your scriptures to learn and be prepared and pray to Elohim to see what he wants you to do. And for those of us who are meant to make it through this, and we're not even in the tribulation yet. Here's the thing. Let me look up the scripture here. Because I think this is a foreshadow too. I don't think New York is coming back. I'm not overly sticking up for that drunkard, Rudolph Giuliani, but America's mayor, but he did a good job. I will say that for the most part, he did a pretty good job for the city of New York. He really did. I think those days are over. They're gone. But let's see. Hold on. It's in Revelation. Yes, Revelation 16:11. And I think this is a foreshadow. I don't think New York's going to repent. Not enough people. Anybody who has any senses and ability. Some people are stuck there, folks, if they're old, they're unhealthy, they're broke. And it's even illegal if you have the health to do it, but you're broke, like if you try to go thumbing it and get out of there. You start doing that on those major freeways, you can be arrested for that. I used to hitchhike when I was a young man, 30-something years ago. One time I got myself in a pickle and had to do it. 12 years ago. And I was taking my chances then. Silly me. Revelation chapter 16, verse, let's start with, let's just start with verse 1, shall we? Let's read on, because it goes to verse, I don't know if I'll read all of it. It goes to verse 21. We'll read at least verses 1 through 11 here. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. We can, read the rest of the chapter on your own time. This is a foreshadow, and it's not just New York. I'm just saying, it's pretty tough, and I don't see those people as a whole repenting. I really don't. And let me tell you something else, and I felt it back in 2022 and 23. Just to occupy my time, more than anything and write it down. I walked every day around to 9 gas stations. I had a routine that I did and wrote down all the gas prices. And it got that way for a while where it was so hot and humid. Either one, I did it early in the morning, or two, I did it later at night. Sometimes I did it twice, morning and night. Because during the day, it got so blatantly hot. And here's the thing about a city. You have all this concrete, you have this tar, you have all this metal and steel, and the sun reflects on that and makes it that much worse. I remember telling Deb back then, poof, I'm not going out there right now. I'm waiting until 7:30 at night. You can go up to a brick building and put your hand on it at night and feel the heat from all day. And I just, it's bad. So that being said, folks, it has to be that much worse, I would think, in New York City. It can't be any better than it was in Panama City and the Parker and Springfield area, I wouldn't think. I mean, oh, those poor people, man. That old elderly woman who said she'd like to make a nice cup of tea, she can't do it because the power keeps going out. While Mom Donnie in his mayor's mansion and in his office and other areas of that building and other city buildings, he can just stay cool. I mean, he's good to go. It's like I said, though, I kind of lost track, got offbeat when I was talking about some of those politicians. They know what they're doing, and they don't care because they're psychopaths. And that's not even counting the spiritual realm. They're demonically driven. It's obvious to me. I think Mom Donnie is doing all this, but there's certain idiots out there. I don't think they really fully understand what they're doing, and they're useful, truly useful idiots. Zoran Mom Donnie is one. Zoran the moron. AOC of the 14th Congressional District of New York is another. I call her the pole dancer. Her good friend, Nasty Jizz in her crotch, from the 30th Congressional District of Texas. I mean, some of those people are just... But their time is limited from what what would I need them for? What wouldn't, if I'm not an elite, but I try to think, what will I need these idiots for? Once we get our goals accomplished, or at least get to the next level. I mean, yeah, brick store heat, no doubt about it there, Wilfred. But the people I'm not so sure they even really understand. They're that stupid. When you don't know what a garbage disposal is. Nasty Jizz, that's ALC, and Nasty Jizz in her crotch, she got from her staff, and she didn't even have the sense to check it out, the source, when they said Jeffrey Epstein gave money to the MAGA Republican Foundation or whatever to the campaign. Yeah, there was a Jeffrey Epstein that did, but it was a doctor who's still being a medical doctor today, not Jeffrey Epstein of the files. Hello. Miss McFly, is anybody? I mean, she got confronted on there, on that one. And, she, oh, well, she just, oh, man, these people are buffoons. I mean, and I, because my legal adopted name, not me, I should say, but my parents used to get, when I was 15 years old, they used to get a bill for this other guy's bifocal glasses. He was 19, I was 15. And, I've never had bifocals. We went to the same eye doctor, and my mom got a little upset with this, because she'd get my bill, and, my dad and her would get my bill, and they'd get the other guy's bill, and she'd of course, they only paid for mine. She probably had to call up and straighten that out. I mean, people have the same first and last names, probably even in some cases, the same first, middle, and last names, and that's when you have to look into the Social Security number, I guess. I don't know, but if you're going to run for politics, at least try to fake that you're halfway intelligent, and those people can't seem to do it. When I laugh, it's anything but funny, though. You know, a lot of people are going to die this year due to the weather. I think a lot more than normal. I hope we don't get the 1877 deal that they're saying, because it won't just be heat anymore. Around 50 million people died back then. How long ago was that? 149 years ago. Hold on, maybe I'm saying it. Is it 5 million, Hoss? Maybe I'm misquoting. Hold on, because I don't want to get on somebody for being wrong, and then I'm doing it. Hold on. How many people died in 1877? Okay. No, 50 to 60 million. 50 to 60 million. Oh, you had it mistyped? Okay. I wanted to make sure because I'm getting on nasty jizz in her crotch for that. But I'm not Jasmine, I'll tell you what. I'm a lot better with my research. I mean, if Deb comes up to me with something wrong, or I'm suspicious of it, not that Deborah Hebrew Faith means to do that, but if something's not quite right, I look into it very quickly before I try to give it out. And Deb gives a lot of great information. She sends me stuff on my phone from the bedroom, and I'll check it out sooner or later. The year 1877 witnessed an estimated 50 to 60 million deaths globally, primarily driven by a historically powerful El Nino event that sparked catastrophic droughts and famines in India, China, Brazil, and other regions. Cornelius Vanderbilt. That's one of the former elites. He's dead. Let's see. I remember reading about him, and there's documentaries on him with Making America Great with Cornelius Vanderbilt there. American business magnate and railroad shipping tycoon died on, okay, Crazy Horse. Okay, that's a different subject. Anyway, then again, you got to understand the reason why also I think I get the gloom and doom, and it gets to be such an abysmal, heavy spiritual deal on me. I've been around politicians in the past. I've even met some bigwigs. Now, the ones I've worked with are just big fish in tiny little ponds. Like I helped I helped the city councilor at large run for mayor in Duluth, Minnesota in 1995. We lost. We ran against two incumbents. Gary Doty was the official incumbent, and Herb Berkson was unofficial because he had been, a number of years, he had been the mayor over across the lake in Superior, Wisconsin, and he moved over just in time, coincidentally, to be a legal resident long enough to run for mayor of Duluth. And they won the primary, so our guy, Neil Adkins, lost. And Gary Doty took it. Herb didn't get in. But you're talking 31 years ago now. But I've been around a lot of city councilors at large, city district councilors, a lot of attorneys. I have an uncle for attorney. He's a cool guy, by the way. I don't want to, I'm not going to cut him down. He's not really much of a politician. He has his beliefs, but a lot of attorneys. I've been with some of the women. We'll just leave it at that. It is a snaky, deviant, demonically driven world where you have to have your head on a swivel. It is very cutthroat. You need to watch your back. Now, as far as some of the bigwigs I met, I don't know if you can really count Jesse Ventura the body. He wasn't a politician yet. He was a big wrestler. I was 10 years old in 1979. He was with the AWA, American Wrestlers Association. I'm like this 10-year-old kid looking up at this big guy, holy moly. I did meet John Thune. You know, he was running at that time against back then incumbent Senator Tom Daschle, and he beat him. He's been in it ever since. He's been proving what a backstabbing rhino he is. I don't remember which park it was. It was one of the parks in Sioux Falls, and that in 2003, I think, if I remember right. I think I was 34 at the time. But yeah, anyway, I've met a couple of other mayors and senators. Oh yeah, I knew a congressman personally as a friend there for a while, but he's been out. I'm not even sure he's alive. If he is, he's probably just as old or older than Nancy Pelosi is, if he's around. From my home state, Minnesota. What was his name? He was an okay guy. He was one of the least deceptive guys around. What I mean is, he's probably one of the most honest from what you could expect in that world. I can't remember his name. Came from Princeburg, Minnesota when I met him. But point is, folks, I know what these people are about. I know their ambitions and how they crave power. And I'm not saying power can't be a good thing. I mean, if you know how to mete it out and trust Elohim to do it right. But these sheeple, these MK Ultra peasants who, they're dumb enough to think that Kamala, the diva, wannabe harass you. Kamala Debbie Harris, former vice president, Hillary Clinton, first lady and a senator and the secretary of state. I mean, these people really, do the peasants really think these people give a rip about them? That they care? I just don't get it. And it blows my mind. It depresses me. It makes me angry. And I don't know about you people. I have a pretty smart, small crowd here. People are pretty intelligent and critical thinkers. And, I think I know I am. I'm just as intelligent and more so than a lot of those people IQ-wise. I guess I just went down a different road for better or worse. Hard to tell yet, but I maybe too. I have to be careful too because I know what a lot of them are about. Now, when I helped Neil Adkins run, and I don't know if he's even alive today. If he is, he's in the 70s. If he is alive, I don't know if he's still a city councilor. He was one of the more honest ones. He had his weaknesses. We would know, those of us that helped manage his campaign. Everybody's flesh, we're flesh and we're sinners. But when Neil told you something you knew, he was telling you the truth, and he meant it. He just couldn't be on time for anything. If he was an hour late somewhere, he was early. That was one of his issues, but we got used to it. We used to call his phone landline back then. He's supposed to be here an hour ago. We'd call him up. He'd hang up. Or he'd answer, click. We'd hang up on him. We'd keep doing it to him. He'd finally make it to the campaign headquarters. Was that you guys calling me and hanging up? We're like, yeah, that was us. But he was a pretty good guy, though. I liked him. Went up to the lake. Not Lake Superior, but another smaller lake out of the way. And with him and his back then 80-year-old mother, and had some good times grilling steaks, and going swimming, and anyway, those guys were rare commodities. I even liked Mayor Gary Doty. I talked to him a couple of times, him and his wife. He was pretty cool. Christian man, I guess, and had some morals, but I know what a lot of these buffoons are like. I put it this way. I'll give you this much information. There was a guy. I knew who he was. I never met him. He was not a politician technically. He was a powerful attorney in a law firm. He was one of the partners. I suppose you could say one of the owners, you know. And the first time Doty got in, when he beat back then incumbent, I think John Fido, he wasn't there for the celebration. His wife was, and I was. And yeah. How old was I then? 23. I was young. I was strong. I'll just stop because I was just as much of a sinner in some ways as everybody else. That attorney was gone for a few nights, and it made it very convenient for me. I think she was 38, 39 years old, and she was more hot looking than most women at my age at 23 back then. You know, but that's what that world is like. Those are the types of people, even if they're not politicians, but they're attorneys like that guy, and they're running the world. Well, trust me, I know some of them, or I have in the past, and I kind of steer clear of that now. You know, I don't. All those people they're slime. A lot of them are slime. They're puke. They're disgusting. They're reprobates, and you know, they are what they are. And there's nothing more to say on it. And I'm glad I'm not in that realm. I have too much black. I have too many black marks, really. Actually, maybe I don't. If Hunter Biden can do the things, can be in politics like he was, maybe I can be too. I'm not nearly as bad as him. So, no, I'm not coming back. I'm not advising anybody, to my knowledge. I don't see that in my future. But folks, look, I think I've talked enough. I've reminisced enough, and I've been tempted to think back to my good times that were sinful. I've read chapters 31 through 35. We're now 70% of the way through the scroll of Genesis, Bereshith. God willing, later tonight, now, God willing, we'll be reading chapters 36 through 40. And maybe I'll have some more info. I'm going to be checking out the Tyler Wood encounter. He did this one video a week. I haven't looked at it yet. And so I plan to. And I'm going to be doing some more article reading and stuff. And I really hope you do have a great 4th of July. Just celebrating our nation in and of itself. I'm cool with that. Okay? You don't need to get stupid out there. Be safe. Be smart. Keep your heads on a swivel with potential dangers. Also, be smart. You know, with the heat and whatever's going on there. I don't want to have to find out that any of my followers of this channel croaked due to a heat stroke or whatever. Okay, that would devastate me. I actually have feeling, compassion, and love for people. You all take care. You stay safe out there. Do Elohim's will. Peace, shalom, Shabbat shalom. The Levite man is out of here. Later.